Hi, it's Gary. Welcome to today's video. A few weeks ago, I asked a question about the Rosetta Stone, and to be honest, this actually piqued my interest a bit, so I thought I'd do a little bit more research into it. The Rosetta Stone, it can best be summarised as the discovery that allowed us to unlock the secrets of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphics. It was the first bilingual ancient Egyptian text that was found in modern times. The knowledge of how to read hieroglyphics, it had declined after the end of the Egyptian period and had completely disappeared by the end of the 4th century AD. Many scholars had tried to read them, but absolutely no headway was being made. During the Napoleonic Wars, the French army, they were working to extend Fort Julien, which was located in Rashid, also known as Rosetta. On the 15th of July 1799, some soldiers, when they were going through the rubble, they found a piece of a stone stele that had been used in the construction of the ancient walls. The officer in charge, he realised the importance of the discovery and he raised it up his chain of command. The item that they had discovered, it's now what we call the Rosetta Stone. And it's actually part of a larger stele, and the remains of the rest of that have never been found. The piece, it measures 1,123 millimetres, that's 3 foot 8 inches high at its highest point, 757 millimetres, 2 foot 5.8 inches wide, and 284 millimetres or 11 inches thick. The stone weighs in at nearly 760 kilograms, or 1,680 pounds. Its front, it's polished with very light inscriptions on it. The sides, they're smoothed, but the back, it's unworked because the back was never meant to be visible. The inscriptions on the stone, they're from two different ancient Egyptian scripts, hieroglyphics and demotic. There's a third set, and that's in ancient Greek. There are 14 lines of hieroglyphs. And hieroglyphs, they're the scripts that were used by the priestly class. There are 32 lines of demotic, and this is the script of the people. It's the script that was used in everyday life. And there are also 54 lines of ancient Greek, and that's the language that was used in administration. By then, the rulers of Egypt, they were Greco-Macedonian, following Alexander the Great's conquest. Unfortunately, due to the damage to the stone, some of all three of the texts are missing. This stone, it was pivotal in the unlocking of the hieroglyphic language, as scholars, they were still able to read and understand the ancient Greek, and the Rosetta Stone provided the key to unlock the other two scripts. As I've said, the stone, it was discovered in 1799 by Napoleon's army. In 1801, following the defeat of the French by the British, the stone, it was transferred to British control as part of the 1801 Treaty of Alexandria. In 1802, it arrived in England. It was then placed in the British Museum, and that's displayed it ever since. There have been a couple of times when the stone's not been displayed, mainly during war, when the stone, it was moved to a secure location to protect it from damage. With the stone containing the three scripts, scholars, they were able to start deciphering what the ancient Egyptian scripts were. Thomas Young, an English physicist, he identified that some of the cartouches in the hieroglyphics, they wrote out the sounds for Ptolemy V, and he was king in 196 BC, which is when the stone was inscribed. In 1822, the French scholar Jean-François Champollion, hopefully I've not mangled his name, he extended this and he discovered that all the hieroglyphics, they represented different sounds in the ancient Egyptian language. He made the crucial discovery when he realised that the hieroglyphics, they also contained the name of non-Egyptian rulers. He also made a second discovery when he identified that some of the alphabetic signs, they were for Egyptian and non-Egyptian names. The stone, together with knowledge of the Coptic language, and that itself is actually based on ancient Egyptian, that allowed him to decipher the hieroglyphics. The inscription on the Rosetta Stone, it's a decree that was made by a council of priests in Memphis, Egypt. It was made in 196 BC, a year after the coronation of Ptolemy V, who was 13 at the time. There are two different dates on the stone. The first is for Xanthicus, hopefully I haven't mangled that too much, and that's in the Macedonian calendar, and 18 Mechir in the Egyptian calendar. Both of these equate to the 27th of March 196 BC. This year, it's also stated as being the 9th year of Ptolemy V's reign, again equates to 196 BC. A further confirmation of these dates comes from the naming of 4 priests who were officiating that year. There is another date mentioned in the ancient Greek and the hieroglyphic portion of the text. These both equate to the 27th of November 197 BC, so a difference of about 4 months. The reason for this discrepancy, well, to be honest, it's not known, but it's clear that the decree was issued in 196 BC as part of the efforts to re-establish the Ptolemaic rule over Egypt. Ptolemy V, he'd come to the throne in 204 BC when he was 5 years old, and he reigned until 181 BC. The decree, it was copied onto stele that was to be displayed in temples throughout Egypt. This particular stele, it's believed to have been displayed in the temple at Sais. It was eventually moved to Rashid, where it was used as building material in an ancient wall. And this, coming back to the start of the story, that's where Napoleon's army found it in 1799. Since the discovery of the Rosetta Stone, 3 other copies of it have been found that would have been displayed in different temples. Unfortunately, none of those 3 are complete either. The stone itself is thought to be a copy of a prototype from the 3rd century BC, only really the names and the dates have been changed. The Rosetta Stone, it's still on display in the British Museum, and it's well worth a visit. I hope you've enjoyed today's video. Have you seen the Rosetta Stone? Have you seen one of the other copies? What are your thoughts on the Rosetta Stone? Have you got some more information about it that you could share? Please drop a comment down below. Let's kickstart the conversation. Please hit the thumbs up button. Every time you like, every time you comment, just helps with the YouTube algorithm. If you haven't already, please subscribe to my channel so that you can get new videos as I release them. I'll talk to you again soon.